Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to div, through which we can centralize the div. Prior to this session, we have already discussed various other methods through which we can centralize the div. So this session is in the continuation of the same, where we will talk about grid. We will talk about display grid and we'll see how we can utilize display grid in order to centralize your div. But before we start the session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow the playlist sequentially, then it would be very easy for you to understand the ongoing topic. But for time being, we will just focus on the topic which is display grid, and we'll see how we can use display grid in order to centralize the div. Again, I'm saying that this method is also used by utilizing two divs. One div will be working as parent div and another one will work as a child div. Okay, fine. So if we talk about the code, so the code is quite simple. Here we have just noted down one title in the head section. There is one question for all of you. Today's question is, can we use display flex with div to centralize it in HTML web page? So you just need to write the answer in a very descriptive manner. Like if it is possible, we can, if it is possible, or if we are supposed to use display flex in order to centralize the div, then you can write yes, it is used, it can be used, and then you can simply give some short example. And if it is not used, then you can simply write no, it is not used. Okay, and those who will provide the consistent correct answer will be spotlighted in the upcoming sessions for sure. Okay, all right. So I think code wise we are okay, and there is one heading. So if I show you the output of this code, so it will come like this: HTML by Tech Sharmit. Now what we will do, we will talk about the main topic, which is centralizing div using grid. So for that, let's add one heading here. So here I'll write heading H2. Then we will write centralizing div using display grid. Okay. So we have added the centralizing div using display grid. So this is just a heading. Now after this heading, we will add one div here. The first div would be work as parent div, and then the second one would work as a child div. I'll show you why we are using both divs. Okay, so let's add some text here. It is not always mandatory to keep the text, but just to show you something in the grid, I am using this label tag. I just paste this thing here, and now you can see it is coming like a label. Now let's style this div. So to style this div, let's add one text here, which is background color style, then background color. Background color would be aquamarine. Then we will set the height of this. So let's add as 400 pixels, or maybe we can set it as, I guess, 200 pixels. I think it would be enough. Then we will set the width. Width would be 50%. Let's save it and refresh it. So now you can see this div has been shown here with 200 pixels of height and 50% of width. But is it what we were expecting? No. Why? Because this is not a centralized div. This is just a normal div. So to make it centralized, what we will do, we will utilize a grid in the parent div. So for that, we need to write here style tag, and in this style tag we will use display with grid. So is this enough to centralize the div? Let's see. So I just added grid here. Then we will set the background color, which would be dark blue, and then we will set the width. So width would be, let's don't add width here. I'll tell you why, but for now I'm not adding that width. height would be 400 pixels. So let's save it and refresh it. So is it centralized? No, not yet. Then how we can make it centralized? Remember one thing, here we have specified display grid. That means now this child div will be considered as a grid container. So far we have just mentioned this thing only, right? But we have not specified anything which will make it as centralized. So to make it centralized, you need to add another thing, which is place item center. Place item center. Let's save this and refresh it. So once I refresh it now, you can see now the div has been centralized. So this is the outer div and this is inner div. Okay, the green color, aqua color, this is I think this is some, which color we are using, aquamarine. Yeah, so aquamarine color div is the child div and blue color div is the parent div. So what we just did here, like firstly we created the normal div. In normal div we added background color, we added height, width, right? But in case of parent div we have specified display grid. So what basically this display grid is doing, it is enabling the grid container. Okay, so after specifying this, it will consider this internal div as a grid container, and on that grid container we can apply this property, which is place item center. So once you specify this thing, place item center, it will centralize your div, and then we specified the background color and height. Now some of you might be thinking like, why we are not specifying width here? You can specify it, but let me show you what will happen. So if I specify width here as 50% and save it, so you will see that it has been shrinked. Okay, so it is completely on you. Like if you want to centralize it on the basis of total height, then in that case you can remove 50% from the upper div. But if you want to centralize it on the basis of only the upper div, then you can keep it as it is. Okay, I hope it's not confusing for you. What I wanted to what I wanted to tell is that this is the entire screen, right? From here to here. So if you want to take the center of this entire width, then you can simply remove this part. But if you want to centralize only the part which is from here to here, then it is fine. Now you can see this is taking 50% and the inner div is taking 50% of that div. Clear? So this is the best way to centralize the div when you want to go with a display grid. So far we have discussed various methods like display, flex we discussed, auto margin we discussed, right? So this is again one more method for centralizing the div. There are many other methods through which we can centralize the div, but these are the common one which we mostly use as per the requirement of project. Clear? So I hope this part is clear to all of you, like how we utilize the display grid in order to centralize the div. And other very important thing is background color. Yes, so if you don't want to show this kind of background color, let me remove the width first from here. So let's say if you don't want to show this extra color, you just want to use one div in the middle. So in that case you can simply put, you can simply remove this color. Okay, once you remove this color, it will be shown without color, and then it will look like you are using only one div which is centralized. Clear? But actually there is a div, that's why I was using the color, because we are learning the things, right? So we should know, like, yes, this is just a child div, and about to this or around this we have another div which is called parent div. So by making the combination of parent div and child div, only we can use this display grid, which will help us and which will provide the functionality place items, and through which we can centralize the div. So I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit, and please do share the knowledge of this question in the comment section so that others can take reference from it. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session. So thanks again for watching Tech Sharmit.